Welcome to Celebrating Act Two. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.
Hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Celebrating Act Two. And you have reached us at Founders Vlog Day, which is where Art and I expand and expound on
It,
sometimes useless stuff, right,
now,
Art?
is this an annual celebration day, or
No, no,
is this a
no. It's
normal, any day that we get together is a founders vlog day of great import?
oh well, anytime we get together, it's of great import. But it's only Founders Vlog Day once a week when we decide to
Expound.
expound. Thank you very much. Good word. Good word. Speaking of words, how's your vocabulary? What have you read lately?
Well, I'm beginning to think that I know how to read you like a book.
And we don't even rehearse this,
No, we don't,
which I
which is
think is
obvious.
obvious. Yeah.
So, what are you thinking right here? What's cogitating in that wonderful mind of yours?
Oh, about reading,
Yeah.
about reading. What have you read? This is a question for everybody. What are you reading now? And maybe more importantly, what have you read lately? But it's really about reading because reading is so important. Do you read a lot, Art?
So I don't read books, but I read a lot of technical uh, uh, documents,
Right.
mostly online.
Yeah.
But I was never a prolific reader. Like my wife, at one point, was reading 3, 4 novels a week.
Wow.
Back in the old days, when they were real books, and you had them in your hand from the library, or you got them,
Yeah.
so on and so
Yeah.
forth. And the last time I did massive reading was which I actually every couple of years go back to, The History of Civilization, which is about a 12 volume
Oh,
tome of about, oh, tomb, a tome, that sounds like a tomb, of
tone.
about
Yeah.
1,100 pages each. And
Yeah.
I've reread that a few times, but other than
Yeah. Ariel and what's his name? Durant,
Will
right?
Durant,
Ariel
Ariel and
Durant.
Will Durant, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so much so that I even read, they had a love story, their autobiography,
Oh, really?
which I found in a used bookstore once. But other than that, and I think I read Rosemary's Baby on the way to a training mission in North Carolina once
So
on a
it's been
12-hour bus ride. It's been a while.
it does sound like training mission in North Carolina. I think that's quite a
Well,
number of
although
years ago.
I do read books, I will tell you that I do read books when we interview people. I read their books
Sure.
to prep for them. But
Yep.
other than that, not so much. I do other things. But what do you read, John?
Well, novels. For let's see, I picked up novels again, reading novels probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Um, and before that, I had not read very many novels. I'd read maybe 5 or 6 a year tops, and mostly read newspapers.
Hmm.
Loved going through the newspapers. Traditionally, I like to read more than one newspaper
Right.
because I like to compare the writing
Well,
and the
growing up in
and the
New
news.
York, you could not only read whatever newspaper you had, but over the left shoulder, if let's say you had the Times, over the left shoulder, Daily News, over the right shoulder, it would be the Post. And I think that,
On the subway or the train.
and when I
Yeah.
was going to college, there was still a Herald Tribune around.
Yes. Oh boy, that's
And I used to
probably
actually read the Tribune and the Times every day in
yeah.
school,
Yep.
and I read the other newspapers on the way home, but they were just more entertaining,
Sure.
lighter. But I don't actually. I used to read the New York Times, Sunday Times. Uh, I just like the smell of it, the feel of it,
Yeah.
the magazine section, everything. Back in the days when it was all black and white.
Yeah.
But I've even stopped doing that uh, because I get most of my information either from the TV or from reading uh, the news on various internet stations.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to, you said reading. So do you read
Reading.
real books like in your hand books or digital?
Oh yeah. No, no, no. Real. I'm not a Kindle guy.
Uh,
Although the benefits of reading Kindle are the same benefits of reading a book, a physical book. Um, it's about using the brain,
mm,
really. First of all, your eyes are one of our five senses, and the more of your senses you can use, Basically, the more active you stay and the better you are. Particularly, we're talking about people over 50. As you get older, reading can be much more important. So, but it's a
Mhm.
habit. As I said, I used to um, read newspapers on a regular basis. Now I'm reading novels on a regular basis. Um, we do read magazines and stuff like that, but I tend to flip through them. There's not much reading,
So
in the
what have you read
magazines today.
recently that might encourage me to read? But not our audience probably just they may be reading right now
Well,
and tuning us out. So what have you read to make them more interested in us?
I'm reading a novel that by Greg Iles that was made into a movie a number of years ago called My Sister's Keeper.
Mm.
And I never saw the movie. Somehow it just never seemed like something I really needed to see. But I'm loving the book. I'm loving the book. And I appreciate not only the story, but the way he tells it. And beyond the way he's telling this story, I appreciate the style of writing.
Mm.
And he writes in this particular book, he's writing each chapter is a different character telling the story. And you've seen that technique before, so you tell your half of the story, I tell my half of the story, blah blah blah. This is you tell part one, I tell part two, somebody else tells part three, and all the characters, you meet them as you go along, but all the characters move the story forward,
Hmm.
but they're all written
In a different voice.
in a different voice, and the style is different, and it's just wonderful to read. If you like literature, any kind of literature, this is a real treat, a real delight. But my wife and I love mystery novels,
Mm.
so we get into these series of detective novels that are, mostly beach style reading books, but some of them are better than others. Some of them are very good. There's a lot of wonderful authors out there, and it's worth picking up a book and see if you like it. If you find an author you like, you'll end up reading a lot of their books.
But
So
in addition to technical things, right now I'm looking on how to improve video transmission and audio latency
right.
to improve what we do here. So I enjoy that kind of stuff. But my sort of like um, a brain uh, exercise for 2 or 3 years, I was doing nothing but maybe a couple dozen Sudoku
Yes,
puzzles
yeah,
a day, and now, and I've always been back and forth into crossword puzzles and
right.
always looking for the next set of puzzles because you buy them in little booklets now, which I used to do. As a matter of fact, every newspaper in New York, when we were riding the subway to and from work, you would tend to do maybe the New York Times on the way in and the Post on the way home.
Yeah,
And if you just wanted to get down and dirty, every so often you'd pick up the Daily News because that one at least you could solve,
yeah, yeah.
with
The
regular words.
puzzles are not technically reading, I don't think, but they're just as good, maybe even better, as a brain teaser, and that's what we're talking about.
Hmm.
Keeping your brain active,
Right.
keeping your eyeballs active. But reading and doing puzzles is activating your brain in a completely different way than using your eyeballs just to watch a video or television or HBO or whatever it is, because that doesn't give you the participation that the reading
I
does.
think
You're using your eyes, but
another value
your
of
brain isn't participating.
whether you're reading or whether you're doing crossword puzzles or whatever other mental things. I like to do physical puzzles. Get the edges and then fill in the insides.
Yes.
Always like to do that. But I think really what one of the benefits that I read about in a recent article that I actually read, uh, but online, was that it also because you get so engaged in it, it reduces the stress of everyday life. Because
Oh, that's interesting.
what it's doing is you're getting involved in an activity that has no real consequence
Sure.
to uh, uh, the COVID or to
Yeah.
paying bills or is a kid paying attention to you today
Right.
or that kind of thing. So
Right. I think, maybe
it's a distraction like a movie or anything else.
I was going to say maybe hobbies are that kind of a distraction. Again, separating moving pictures into a different category because I don't think they engage the brain half as much. But hobbies, you've seen people with hobbies. They get deeply involved in whatever it is, sculpting or model trains or working with animals or whatever their hobby is, and it really is a because they get so deeply involved, it is a distraction from everyday life, and it can I think hobbies might fall just a step below reading
Mm.
for keeping your brain active. Yeah. So anyway, good advice for everybody over 50, I think, is to read something.
Or,
Just read
or,
something.
or under 50, and I'll tell you another reason. Okay, for over 50, yeah, I guess that's our audience, but I have a 5-year-old uh, granddaughter who is now reading fairly well, and but because of that, while she's only in kindergarten, she's beginning to write, and even though some of she'll write without a dictionary or a book in front of her,
Yes.
and it may be like she'll mess up the word exciting with different letters, but it'll be like ed exciting kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she's able to now know that all these words exist, what they mean,
Yeah.
and so I think at the early part of life, it's certainly because she's reading a lot of books, and it's a part of her, even her kindergarten classes, and we've always read to her. So I guess basically what's old is new, and what's new is old. Uh,
Yeah, but somewhere in between, most people stop reading.
yeah,
They're too busy or whatever. I mean, we encourage our kids, we require our children to read all the way through high school.
right.
And if you go to college, you can't get through college without reading a lot.
But then I did enough reading, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a break. You're right. I think you're right.
yeah. So anyway, everybody should read.
Yes.
I agree with you. Whatever your age, you should read something, and use your brain.
So
That's the
one
key.
of the things I think that people would really help them if they fallen off the book cart, the library, if they've lost the library card and they want to help, we want to help them find their way. Probably the best thing you can do. I mean, I'm just this is a general sense. If you've
Yeah.
lost your way, is to go to Celebrating Act Two with the number two on YouTube and subscribe. Okay, I'm just saying that
And read the descriptions of all our
right, because
videos. That's
people have found out, I'm sure, that in the journals going into the future, people are going to find that people who've done that have
yes.
more successful, happier, more fulfilling lives.
And they're certainly better looking,
Yes,
and
better,
they stay younger. They
and
stay younger.
better
Yeah.
looking certainly than we are, because how hard could that be?
Well, that's good advice. And with that, Art, I want to say I've got a novel waiting for me. So I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'm going to go to my bookie.
A different kind of
Oh, different
reading.
kind of book? Okay, okay. See you guys.
All right. Take care, everybody.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.